Not after dark.
Get the fuck out.
Not after dark, baby.
Don't do it.
Let me just throw it out there again that I'm not a Jorginho fan.
And I'm not a Marcos Alonso fan, but I like to defend him to you guys.
You are, so Collins, you are a Jorginho defender.
I'm a Chelsea player defender.
No, you're a Jorginho defender.
No,
It doesn't make you a fan.
I defend players on my team. For the most part.
Not all of them.
Well, except the ones who don't want to be there. Like Brown. He can fuck off.
And Christensen.
I think that one's universal.
Yeah, and Christensen.
Oh,
He can totally fuck off.
but Alonso, though, it's an interesting one.
It is an interesting one because you do not like him at all.
I don't. Okay.
Yep.
Let's go. Here we go.
I'm curious.
The not liking him stems from two things. Number one is FIFA, because he's slow as fuck, doesn't match any system that Matt or I play when we play, like just doesn't. So he started off on a negative foot there. Okay. Number two, we had Ben Chilwell and we were playing Marcos Alonso ahead of him and not getting anything out of that left side. Right. So that was Matt, I'm not even
early in the season. No, hold on.
I know he scored goals, but then we played him like an additional 7 matches.
I'm just saying, early in the season, we had the debate of who would you rather have right now.
I know, and I said
we
Chilwell.
all said Alonso because Chilwell. I don't know what kind of form he was in.
You're wrong there.
No, this is before. No, this was like
we said Chills because it was tied and Chills got the age debate.
Yes.
Okay, so we're all right. Fine.
But it was very close.
Yes, it was very close.
Yes.
And I feel like age. Sorry, and I'm gonna go back and retract a little bit. Age should not be a determining factor in who's playing the best at the time right now. Because at the time, Alonso was playing better than Chills. Because Chills had come off that form where I believe he had 3 yellows and eventually a red, and he gave up a pen, and he didn't have a good run of form, and then he finally caught stride, and then he blew past Alonso.
Yeah.
So at that point, it was pretty close.
I acknowledge that, but we still said Chilwell at that point.
But just age alone shouldn't be a determining factor. I'll go back out and if I agreed to that, then I am taking that back, and I should not have said that because, let's say you have Dave at 25 versus Dave at 32. I mean, it's still Dave, but you're not going to necessarily take age into consideration, right?
No, but you're going to take all the things that go along with age.
Right. But I'm saying age shouldn't be the determining factor, right? If they were both, I think they were both equal on goals scored and probably assists. I think Alonso might have had more assists at the time, but again, I think we all rated Chilwell as a slightly better defender than Alonso.
Right.
At the time.
So rewind back into the conversation here.
I'm here.
Yeah. So he was taking playing time away from Chilwell, right? And again, we had all agreed Chilwell, slightly better, should be playing, right? We spent all that money on him, all that good stuff. What I've seen out of Alonso over the last 6 months, probably, no, not 6 months, maybe 4 months, since around Christmas time, is that it doesn't always look pretty, especially defensively. We know he's good to have his ankles broken by someone, right?
Multiple times.
But what he does offensively for us opens things up. When it was Dave playing down the left for a while, when it was Malang Sarr playing down the left for a while, things got ugly, things got choppy, they got stagnant and even more slow than they are now because Jorginho no longer had the side pass available. It was just the back pass, right? Marcos Alonso opens things up. I haven't looked it up. I'm curious to know how many assists he has this year, because it's over the last probably 5-6 matches. If you count like hockey assists, he's got quite a few. He's been in the buildup for a lot of our attacks. So I'm still, when Chilwell comes back, Chilwell can come back right now, and I'd say Chilwell should be our starter. But I'm respecting Marcos Alonso for what he is. He's a guy who goes at 3 assists this year.
3 goals, 5 assists.
That's pretty good. That's pretty decent. It's not
39 matches.
Yeah, it's not Reece James numbers. It's not Ben Chilwell over a full season numbers. It's not Mason Mount numbers. It's not. But for a guy who's up there, for a guy who doesn't play defense, for a guy who doesn't move well, those are pretty respectable numbers. So all I'm saying is that I'm respecting Marcos Alonso for what he is, and a guy who defense is going to be subpar. He's going to contribute in some way in the attack. And then he's not going to go, balk at contract negotiations. He's not going to go run his mouth to Sky Italia, or he's Spanish, so Marca. He's not going to go run his mouth somewhere. He's a guy who just day in and day out does his job to seemingly what is probably the best of his ability. So again, I'm not like Team Marcos now. I respect him for being a valuable player to this team.
Okay.
Here we go.
You're respecting him for being the only left back that we have playing his natural position. You talked about Saul, Malang Sarr, Dave. Are any of them left backs by trade?
No, but if you okay, all right, fair.
Are any of them left backs by trade?
They are not. I'm making note of this because I have a counter for it.
Okay, I'll let you make your counter. I'm just saying.
Go ahead.
It is tough to compare somebody in their natural position, who we have talked about is being trash at their natural position, and having to have other people take his spot when he was more than able to play, right? Malang Sarr was able to play. Saul was able to play. And we put them in those positions over Alonso by choice. Not by necessity, but by choice. That, to me, is the biggest telltale. We've never argued his impact on the attack. I don't think we've ever had a doubt about that. We've even said we have 2 of probably the best left-footed attacking left wing backs in the Premier League. We do, especially if you look at like a half volley or something like that, or being able to hit that ball sweetly, or off a free kick, something like that. Like, we have 2 of the best. There's no doubt about that. We've never really questioned the offensive ability of either. It is the defense where we get burned on Alonso time and time again, which is why we had to put somebody like Saul or Malang Sarr on that left back position, because we needed more defense and less offense. A left back should be able to do both. If this is Marcos Alonso, right? He's probably best suited as a left mid and not a left back. Yeah. And when you talk about Jorginho being able to open things up when Alonso's on the field, I agree. I completely agree, because he knows where he should be. He's a natural left back. He knows where he should be. He knows his lanes, everything like that. Saul doesn't know shit. Malang Sarr doesn't know shit. Like, what do you expect them to do? They're just trying to be back there and do the best they can and not try and fuck things up. So, no. He's been doing good on the attack. Again, we've never had a problem with that. It's still just his defending that is subpar. And if you're a defender, that is something that you need to be able to do, and he is not good at it.
I think the key distinction here is that he's not a left back. He's a left wing back, which in this system essentially is a left mid, right? It's not a winger. We talk about the system being a 3-5-2 or 3-4-3. That essentially puts the left wing back in the midfield. So yes, I will agree. His defending is atrocious. It has been. It is what it is. He's going to get burned. But we've also seen Liverpool scored once on him this year in three attempts. City did not score on that left side. Their goal came down the middle, I believe. Real did not beat him down the left. In fact, Marcos scored in that game, if not then taken back due to VAR. I think the man holds his own when asked to hold his own. But talking about those other guys, Tuchel looked for options. He looked for options at left back. And I think it's telling. This may be me surprisingly being a glass half full guy. I think it's telling that no one stuck in that position. If Alonso is so bad, why didn't Malang Sarr stick? If Alonso is so bad, why didn't Saul stick? Why didn't Dave stick on the left when we moved him there? Again, I'm not saying Alonso is, left back for the future. I'm not saying that he is phenomenal, would make a Premier League All-Star team. I'm respecting him for what he is.
It feels so good to hear you say it, man. I thank you for joining the dark side, because I've been saying this all year. I can't excuse his defending because it has been very bad. And yeah, he does get made a fool of, but his contributions are more than just that. And so I've always said, you have to weigh his total contribution to the team as more than just his defending. And obviously in a game where he doesn't score or doesn't assist and gets burned, it looks very damning. But you're finally seeing what I saw very long ago, which is overall contribution is relatively positive. He's not a standout. He's not 8.5 consistent player week in, week out, but he's like a 7 for me, like a general 7 where he's going to do fairly good. It's not perfect. It's got some errors in him, but overall positive.
According to Who Scored this year, he's a 7.1 overall in 20 matches.
I don't believe a thing Who Scored says anymore.
Why?
Because I've seen every time I watch matches and then look at Who Scored, I completely disagree with what they say.
It's fair.
It just doesn't line up with what I think is a good player. And I'm just like, wait, what were you watching? Were you watching the same match? He wasn't good. I'll think that. I'll just be like, no, that guy wasn't good, or this guy was good and is rated not as good. Conte's a good example. When I think Conte has a bad match and he'll be like a 7-8 on Who Scored, I'm like, that's fucking terrible. He had a bad match. But he had 47 touches and he completed 45 passes. So he gets a 7-8 on Who Scored, but he didn't do anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
okay.
All right.
Alonso. I'm not letting you go on this. I'm just not.
Okay.
His attack is great. We know that.
Yeah.
And you talk about against Liverpool and Man City, how he did a very good job. Who was the left center back? If you want to refresh my memory on a lot of those.
Okay, but that
no. Who was it?
I'm trying to think back through all the games. I know primarily Rudiger, and I know that's what you're getting at.
Yep. A man that can take care of business. We saw it against City multiple times. They don't want to go down that right side because Rudiger's there. They don't. You said that the goal that they got, they scored through the middle. KDB was on the other side of the pitch going up against either Christensen or Trev. Like, yeah. And we've even talked about this. Rudiger makes Alonso look better. He does. When you have that kind of a defender in support, kind of like knowing if you have a 6'8" opposite who can block ridiculously going up against the best teams outside, you're really not going to have to defend a whole lot, right? Like, you can be out of position and you're fine. That's basically Rudiger. If you're out of position, which, again, we all know Alonso is, Rudiger is going to be there to clean up that mess, and nobody wants to take him one-on-one because they're going to feel the effects of it. So Rudiger out there on the pitch with Alonso makes Alonso look better.
So, okay. Again, I'm not debating his defense. I agree with you. I agree with you on his defense.
I'm not trying to get at his defense. What I'm saying, I'm arguing the point of you saying that when we played Liverpool and City, how they didn't really do a lot down that right flank. And I'm like, well, that's not because of Alonso. That's because of Rudiger.
Maybe I mischaracterized that. I'm not saying, it was solely because of Alonso. I'm saying I'm going to put it in baseball terms because I always do.
Yeah.
Defensively, he is a league average defender. Wins above replacement as a defender, 0.
As soon as I heard you start, I thought you were going to say liability. I'm like, oh yeah, that's true.
I think of him like a second baseman. He's
kind of a dime a dozen.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how he plays defensively. Like, I mean, it matters, but not a whole ton. And he's probably league average there. But he is a second baseman who can rake. He's a DJ LeMahieu.
Yeah.
So and that's what makes him valuable. So I'm respecting the fact that he's not a great defender. Again, I wanted to announce that I'm just respecting Alonso for what he is. It's not a blatant hate of him anymore. It's just I know what I'm going to get out of him. It's probably going to be positive, except on the defensive end. We'll see what happens.
So what would constitute a positive performance for Alonso if he doesn't assist or score in a match? What would that still be a positive game for him if he doesn't score or assist?
No goals down that right side. It's a team sport. It's
right.
Not...
And so that's kind of the shift. It's like, well, then, we're talking about him from an offensive perspective. So again, let's put it in baseball terms. Goes 0 for 4 at the plate.
Mm-hmm.
He's paid to hit the ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
Goes 0 for 4 at the plate. Makes a diving stop on a grounder to turn a double play at whatever point in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter if it's early, like second inning or eighth inning. Does that still justify? Do you still think that would be a good performance? That's kind of how I look at it, right? Like,
that in and of itself is not a great performance, right?
Right.
0 for 4, but you don't commit any errors, right? You do what you're supposed to do in the field. So as long as you're not costing your team runs in baseball, then you can justify an 0 for 4 at the plate. But you look over a series of games, you look over a couple week stretch, and does he have a couple of assists, couple goals? Minimal shots on target from his side, like
Mhm.
then I think that's it. It's successful.
Yeah. So like let's say in a 4-game series goes he's an average 300. All right. So let's say his normal batting average is 300. Right? Let's say in the series he goes 3 for 15 and has 2 great defensive plays and his normal typical ground outs or whatever, and then he has an error, right? So we're looking at that over
For the course of 4 or 5 games, 4 games.
Over 4 games. How do you classify that?
Not good or bad. Over 4 games, that's league
do we
average.
just kind of accept that as like, well, it's Marcos Alonso?
You chalk it up as that's the sport, and you look at the track record and you say, okay, next 4 games he's probably gonna. I hate to keep switching between the baseball and the soccer, but next 4 games he's gonna hit 300. He might have a home run. He's not gonna make an error. So it's all a balancing act. And again, I'm not saying he's a perfect left back, perfect left wing back. Not by any stretch of the imagination. I think a 78 rating in FIFA is pretty accurate. He's better than some, but not a guy I'd go out of my way to pick up.
So do you think that he is a top 6 left back in the Premier League?
I would have to look. Hold on.
I'm just opinion. I'm not even looking stat wise, just opinion. Do you think a top 6 team would go out and get him if like on a transfer, not a free transfer, but just transfer? Do you think a top 6 Premier League side would go out and try and get him?
I think there'd be a lot of different factors in there. I think it would be, what does he want to do in terms of playing time? Does he want something similar to Chelsea, where it's going to be maybe a third of the time with Chills healthy? Does that team want to sign him as a starter? And what top 6 team it is? City, no. Liverpool, no. Well, Liverpool's weird. Liverpool, maybe. But then who?
So let's run this down. So Man City, he
doesn't fit their style.
Yeah, they have Zinchenko and João Cancelo. So probably not. Liverpool, they have Robertson, and they've thrown out Milner out there, which honestly I'd probably take James Milner over Alonso, but that's just me. And I don't think he fits. Well, he might fit their style just because he's got Virgil van Dijk to cover him. But then you look at Man U, you have Alex Telles and Luke Shaw. So probably not going to start over those 2.
Right, but I think he might give Luke Shaw a run for his money. Not a run for his money, but I think that's a closer comparison than Alonso and Chilwell. So it depends on how much Eric Ten Hag,
right,
puts into what he wants his left backs to do.
And then you look at Arsenal; they have Tierney, who's their starting left back, and I don't think he's going to be overpassed by Alonso. I don't know who their backup is, but
that tells you right there. He'd probably be second fiddle there easily.
Yeah. And then
Spurs.
Tottenham, you have.
I think he fits into Spurs.
Who's their left back? I'm trying to think offhand.
But Spurs and West Ham are the 2 that I was thinking, like, he could fit there.
Yeah, I would say West Ham, he would probably be an upgrade.
Reguilón, is he left back or right back?
Oh, left back. Yeah, he's not beating Regulon.
But yeah, I think he's in the same spot in any of the top 6 clubs as he is here.
I think he's a better mid-table Premier League like starter. Like if we're talking about, could you do a straight swap for somebody and start? So I probably should have phrased that better. So would a top 6 Premier League club gain an advantage based on their starters by grabbing Alonso? Like, would any of them get better?
I think just like us, it provides them depth and strong depth.
Yeah.
So it doesn't improve the first team, but I think it improves, if somebody goes down, like with us this year, we would have been fucked.
Oh, yeah.
Malang Sarr and Saul are not left back options. But I look mid-table. I'm looking at the table now. I don't know where he would fit in mid-table because all of those teams outside of West Ham, so from 8 to 16, from Wolves down to Leeds, are teams that play, unless they're playing Chelsea, play with pace. They play on the counter. They play to go. So Alonso's best spot may be in a top 6 team where you're playing against the low block pretty consistently to whip balls in.
Or where you don't have to defend that much.
Right. So sadly, I think Spain's probably his best option at this point.
I mean, do you think he's going to go to a top 4 team? I mean, he's probably not going to go to Atletico. He's probably not going to go to Real and not Barca.
No, Barca was interested earlier in the year.
Really?
That might have been prior to Xavi though. But I could see him with Unai Emery at Villarreal.
Yeah.
Barcelona, I could see him at Atletico, maybe.
I don't think he has the attitude to play at Atletico.
Yeah, he might get broken there.
Yeah, you probably have to have beaten up a bunch of people in a bar fight to even make the team at Atletico.
But Real Madrid, I could see him. I don't think this would be a popular opinion, but I could see him being in the mix there. I don't think that their defense is all that great.
Well, they have, who's their left back now?
Alaba on a 1 year.
I mean, they do have a good youth system. We've seen that. So does Barca. Like, we've seen people come through the academy. So, I mean,
yeah, I mean, do you
think he replaces Jordi Alba at Barca?
I don't know, because
that's a tall ask.
I don't think
anybody coming in.
I don't think Xavi has a system. I really don't. So I don't know where he would go there. Maybe it's something where it's a straight swap with who the fuck am I? Serginho Dest as like being the guy who can play both wings. Alonso couldn't play both wings well, but being that second option.
Maybe we can sell Barcelona on that. Yeah, he can play both. Yeah, we'll take Serginho Dest straight up for Alonso. Alonso can play both, no problem.
What about Sevilla?
I mean, European competition, they're always in Europa. They're always competing at least for a top 4 to get to Champions League. So
Jesus Navas is their left back right now.
And he's older.
Yeah, he's exactly like Marcos Alonso. He's a winger by trade.
Yeah, he's a winger kind of playing out of position.
Yeah.
But Alonso is not a winger playing out of position. Like he fits in. He fit fine in. Sorry, I heard Sterling going ape shit and not in a good way. But like Alonso fit fine in a 4-back system. like he was fine there when he didn't have to make the bombing runs all the time like he has to do now, and then trying to get him to track back. I feel like he kind of fits more of a left back mold where he makes a couple runs up the front and then he can just kind of sit back and then has a chance to defend, where he's not trying to track back because he's made all these darting runs going forward and then he's got to play catch up with, you know, his walker trying to help him. Like it just, it's worked before, right? Like we've had him in that 4-back system and he's done well. You know, maybe is this the right system for him to actually have him as that kind of left wing back, or is he just more of a like straight up left mid where he doesn't have to defend as much?
Thing is, I don't know if he could, like, yeah, I think he profiles as being a better left mid or left wing, but excuse me. But I don't know if we actually put him there, if he has the skills to do that. Like, you know what I mean? Where in FIFA, you know, you play FIFA, you play a guy who's a center back at left back, and, you know, he's got, you know, he profiles as possibly being able to play there, but the drop in his talent score is so significant where it's like, why would you do that?
Right. And I mean, that brings in another point. Like, we brought back Kennedy.
Yeah.
Why have we not given him more of a trot out if we actually recalled him for that position? And we haven't given him more than what, one shot?
Yeah, I think he's played like 2 this year, but
yeah,
this gets me into a.
I mean, but again, Kennedy is more of a left mid than he is a left back.
Oh yeah, Kennedy's a winger out and out. Yeah. That okay. So that's a.
Oh, I'm ready.
That's a. I don't know. I understand what you're saying, but I think it's a separate issue. I think that's an issue of the way Roman ran the club, for better or for worse. I think that's, you know, where managers are dispensable, very, very easily dispensable. So you have to have Marina and check, look out for the long-term interests of the club. I think that's why, as much talk as there's been about it, I think that's why Ram is in the club. I think that's why Saul was there. Yeah, I don't think Tuchel has had a true transfer window yet.
Right. He's, I don't want to use the phrase, but he's playing with house money right now. Right? Like, this is the team that he was brought in to manage, not the team that he chose or that he had time to build. Again, he's done a damn good job with what he's had. Granted, you go from PSG to Chelsea, like you're going from riches to riches, right? Like,
right.
It's not like you're going from PSG to like Norwich, right? Like,
right.
You're getting good quality talent, and at least at Chelsea, you're getting relatively good professionals. Where PSG, you're just getting money-hungry children, right?
Right.
It like, you get actual professionals at Chelsea. I want to see what he does with a legitimate transfer window. You know, give him, I might be greedy, but give him 400 mil. Give him 400 mil. Let him get the players that he wants in. Give him the freedom to do what he needs to do to get the players that he wants to fit his system. I'm not saying spend that on 2 players. Like, don't spend the 400 on like Holland and Declan Rice, because then your budget shot to shit. But I'm saying go get the people that that are going to make your system work. Go get whatever the midfielder's name is.
Tuchemi.
Yeah, go get Tuchemi. Go get Koundé. You know, we've been linked with Koulibaly for a long time. Have a look at him, considering we need help at center back with 2 center backs being gone. Malangsar is probably going to go out on loan. You know, midfield, sell Jorginho. I hate to say it, but sell Conte. Bring back Gallagher, Billy G, RLC, Kova, Tuchemi. Right there, you got your midfield. Sell Ross. Saul goes back to Atletico. I think right now you keep Timo, you keep Pulisic, you keep Mount, you keep Ziyech, you sell Rom, and you bring in. Honestly, I kind of like the idea of like a Martial. You bring in somebody like that who's going to be real cheap, but is still relatively young, has a lot of talent. You bring in somebody like that. I definitely not Rashford. But like you bring in somebody who can kind of change things. You look at a striker. I mean, obviously, I personally want Lewandowski, somebody who can full-blown score at will. But we were linked with somebody. Diego Nunes? Is that who it was?
Oh, out of Benfica or Porto or whatever.
Yeah, Benfica. Yep. Bring in somebody like that who's not going to be over the top expensive, maybe 50 mil. Give them a shot and see what happens. But you still have Kai, you still have Timo, and just kind of go from there, right? Like, and then definitely bring in another left back, whoever you want to bring. Honestly, I would not be opposed to a Marcelo 1 year, because you're going to need a lot of that leadership, especially in the back line. And Thiago Silva can't do it all. Yeah, you're going to have Dave there for a year, but bring in somebody like a Marcelo to really shore up that locker room, shore up that back line and everything like that. Or you look at, do we know if we have a buyback on Livramento?
We do, but I think it kicks in next year.
I wouldn't be opposed to that. Not at all. He's had a damn good season. He kicked our ass the first time we played him this year. So,
well, he's out like 6 months now. He's tore his
good.
ACL.
He'll be cheap. We got 2 left backs with 2 good knees.
Yeah, right.
But like I'm just saying, like you look for things like that, like players that are kind of under the radar and not necessarily fully developed, but who can learn from experienced players. I mean, we saw that this year. You know, we talked about Christensen. He had a real good run of form, and then contract stuff happened, and then he turned to shit. Trev also had a good run of form. Then he got hurt, and then he's kind of trying to work his way back. But they're all under the tutelage of Rudy and Thiago Silva. They're only going to grow off of that. And if you bring in, you know, another veteran, it's not going to hurt anything, right? Marcelo barely plays at Real Madrid right now. Barely. So bring him in, give him a year, give him a trot out. He's probably not going to be that expensive. So just make that happen and see what he can do. I mean, you want to talk about somebody with a wicked left foot who can attack? Yeah, that would be Marcelo in a nutshell.
And I think honestly, what's going to help us is the fact that this is all being financed with, the purchase of the club with no debt. And so, in the past, it's been, well, we're not going to sell Barkley because we're not going to recoup some or all of our costs. We're not going to sell so-and-so. And so this is all clean slate stuff. Yeah. And so, you're going to be able to sell Rom for 40 mil. You're going to be able to sell Kepa for 30 mil. Some of those midfield players that
Bakayoko, we can finally get off the books.
Right. Danny Drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all just going to be straight profit.
Yeah. It's nice because that's like I said, clean slate. And so you can go out and you can finally get rid of those players. You can go and spend money and spend it wisely. The rumor I've heard is that the 3 remaining parties are all interested in Paul Mitchell as the technical director. Let me just run his resume by you.
Please do. Because I only know Paul Mitchell for hair.
Yeah, right. 2008 to 2012, he was the head of recruitment at MK Dons. 2012 to 2014, he was the director of recruitment and scouting at Southampton when they,
oh yeah.
2014 to 2018, head of recruitment and analysis at Spurs when they went through their little renaissance. Head of recruitment and development at RB Leipzig from 2018 to 2020. Then went on to become the technical director at Red Bull International from 2019 to 2020. And since 2020, he's been the sporting director at Monaco. That's a guy who's going to spend money very wisely.
Yep. Sign him up.
And a guy who can identify talent. Marina's great. Marina's a business person through and through. She would be a perfect CEO, CFO at any given company. But she doesn't have the sporting, technical database in her mind that some of these other guys do. So, Marina's great for what she is, but she's not somebody who's she needs a Petr Cech along with her. She needs
somebody.
Yeah. Paul Mitchell would be a great fit.
Here's a name I will throw out there. I'm very high on him. What are your thoughts about Brendan Aronson?
Not ready for Chelsea. I think that's a buy and loan. Give him like 3 years, maybe. But he's got to develop in Europe first.
I would like to see him. I would like to see us buy him, give him trots out over the summer, and then loan him. Like a buy-in, like you said, kind of a buy-in loan. So we'll buy him, but we'll loan him back to RB Salzburg.
Salzburg, yeah.
And I mean, I like him a lot. That man, he has an engine like Timo had like 3 years ago. He just goes. Let me propose this. Straight up, Cho for Brendan Aronson.
No, I think you can still get more for Cho. I think Cho's 20, right?
And very injury prone.
But we've seen Bayern is willing to splash cash for him. We've seen who was it? Some Spanish club. Wasn't Real or Barca, but Sevilla maybe was willing to pay very, very well for him. Dortmund, we know, is always in the mix for young English players.
Yeah.
I think a straight swap would be fine as long as you're also getting like $30 million.
Okay.
But I think Aronson would be, he's a good long-term target. And I like the idea of Chelsea being able to control, what level he goes to. I don't trust that we're going to make the right choice, as we saw this year with Billy Gilmore and Norwich, because it's too much like, oh, well, got a relationship with this manager. And so it just like, it wasn't a good situation because we had existing relationships with manager at the time. But I think his ideal career path would be he's done with Salzburg. I think he's out of the Austrian league, should be after this year.
Yeah.
Go to Germany for a year and then
play it like a München Gladbach or like a Wolfsburg or
Werder
like
Bremen or someone. Yeah. Spend a year or two there. And then I think he's ready for a mid-table Premier League team. Like a Leeds or a Villa or somebody.
I think Leeds would be a real good place for him, just knowing how Leeds plays, and especially with the connection with Jesse Marsch.
Right.
I think that'd be really good for him. I just think that he fits the system that Tuchel wants, where you have people going front to back down the pitch nonstop. I think that style of play fits Tuchel's system.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, he's got plenty of energy. I mean, even if let's say you buy him first year, you send him out on loan, second year, he's just a sub, just the, 65th minute, 70th minute, but he is just bombing up and down the pitch. I mean, he's going to cause problems.
Yeah.
And I like that idea a lot. And then you pair him with, let's say we do get Serginho Dest, right? As another left/right back. Then you have that connection. You include Pulisic. You start building.
Is this too American though?
That's the thing that I was thinking about. Like, does that get too American? Because then you're only kind of looking at one side of the pitch, right? That would be the right side. Obviously, Aronson, he can play both. But I've liked what I've seen out of him with the U.S. men's national team. I liked what I've seen out of him with Salzburg. I was watching, because they were in Champions League, right, this year? Watching him play, it was, I think they were down 1 and they needed a draw. And it was, I turned on at like the 80th minute. And he is still just bombing up and down the pitch. And he started. And he is still going full bore. And just causing all sorts of issues. I'm like, that's somebody who I want on my team.
Yeah.
Like you just look and you're like, I kind of want that person. And that's I think something that fits Tuchel's system. And I honestly, we've always talked about this. If you put somebody in the right system, they will thrive. Yeah, it's Chelsea. I get it. But under Tuchel, if you're telling me that Aronson, who's 20, 21 years old, if you're telling me that he can get a chance to work with Tuchel in a system that fits what he does, I would be all in favor of that.
Yeah, I think he fits the system very well, but I don't think he shows out for the US when he plays, but that's in CONCACAF. I'm not sold that his skill set is at Chelsea's level yet, and I think then you have an issue like Hudson-Odoi when he first broke into the team, where it was like, oh, potential, but now you have a left winger who has like 2 goals in 90 matches.
Well, we've also seen our stars for the U.S. men's national team not show out in CONCACAF. So
true.
So I don't know. It's I hate to say it, but it's tough to think about how Americans translate from the men's national team to Europe. I think McKinney did it very well. I think Christian has done a good job.
Anyone from that FC Dallas youth setup does it very well.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it's like Eric Palmer Brown has been so at Venezia. He's with Ampadu at Venezia. Matt Miazga, was supposed to be the next big thing. He's been a flop in Europe. I'm trying to think of other young talent. The only other one I can think of is Jack Harrison, but that's because he's a city product. He's not necessarily NYCFC. Like he was a
Right.
city kid.
He's city, but I mean, I like him with Leeds.
Yeah, no, he's good with Leeds.
Yeah. No, I like Jack Harrison. I think fits very well with that team. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Obviously, you and me, Parks. Blue collar. We like people that just fucking work. Right. Jack Harrison works.
Yeah.
I would also entertain the idea of, speaking of Leeds, of Alioski, their left back.
Yeah.
Talk about somebody who works. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like him, and you can probably get him for 20 mil.
Let's just wait till Everton is relegated and just take all their players.
No, that's why they got relegated.
Richard, I'm still give me Richarlison.
No. Oh, I will fight you on this so hard. No, absolutely not.
Or
No.
Jordan Pickford.
I will drive over to your house and slap the shit out of you.
Take Kepa's spot.
The only person that I would entertain from Everton would be Anthony Gordon.
What about Dominic Calvert-Lewin?
No. He's injured all the time. No. Absolutely not. No.
What about who's that Turkish center back they got who looks like the guy from Shrek?
You're thinking of Leicester?
Oh yeah, I am. Damn it.
Sorry, Nietzsche?
Yes. Yeah, that's it.
I mean, I like him.
Yeah, let's get him. Remind me next week. I got a MLS. I want to talk MLS.
Ooh.
Because I don't know. After going to another Madison game and then watching MLS all weekend, it's like artificial. It's artificial soccer.
Yep, I was watching some MLS today.
You watch Cincinnati LAFC?
No, I was watching Orlando and Red Bulls.
What? I was just watching that. Like, why is Cincinnati even? Why are they a thing? It's such a poorly run organization. They built a new stadium with taxpayer money, like brand new down there. They're not good. Like their scouting department is bad. They don't have any good coaches. Like what is the point of a FC Cincinnati? Whereas you look down in USL and it's like, well, you're not, no one's tanking for draft picks. There's no designated allocation money, anything like that. Like it's just you go to win.
Yeah.
And if you don't win, you don't survive.
So and again, you and I have talked about this. Like, I would love to see that with US sports. Give me G League and NBA Pro Rel. Give me that. Give me Major League Baseball. Give me Pro Rel.
Oh yeah, get the fucking Pittsburgh hockey. Pirates out of here.
Yeah, give me hockey. I saw today. It was about the NFL, and obviously with the XFL coming back, and then you have the USFL back now too. It's like whoever takes last in the NFL has to play the winner of either the XFL or the USFL, and whoever wins, they get to go to the NFL. Otherwise, they get demoted. I'm like, please, that would make it so much more entertaining. We can finally get the Lions out of here. Like, Oh, it would be amazing. I wish that they did that, but the US is it's such a money hungry industry that they're never going to do that, because you've built these franchises, right? Based on off of all these pro sports teams, and then now you're developing these lower leagues. It's like, no, you should develop the lower leagues and then move up to the pros. But they're doing everything backwards. So it's hard to do that. It's like, well, let's say that the Bucks, the Bucks weren't around, but the Herd, right?
Yeah.
The Herd was there, the J League team, and they finally got good, and then they moved up, and now we're just the Milwaukee Herd. Like, because we beat, the Cavaliers or the Knicks or
Right.
whoever. Somebody who sucks right now. I don't know who's the worst. The Orlando Magic, maybe. But like, you just do something like that, it would make things so much more interesting. It would get people involved in the lower leagues and everything like that.
Because it gives you hope.
Yeah, it gives you hope. It builds a fan base. The only problem with that is they're affiliates. They're not their own independent league.
Yeah, you'd have to branch
sucks.
off.
Yeah, which I think is the worst thing that they did. Like, you create, oh yeah, we're part of this pro team, and oh, now we're going to develop affiliate leagues and go off of that. It's like, yeah, no.
That's why I think USL is set up really well right now, because they don't have pro rel yet, but they're like, it's on the table to be instituted, like once they've leveled off the amount of teams and all that. So, and they don't have affiliation with MLS anymore. MLS created a new separate like reserves league.
Yeah.
So, you watch like New York Red Bulls games, and the stadium is consistently like a third full, because it's Red Bulls, like whatever. But like, you watch some of I've been finding myself watching a lot of USL matches for whatever reason.
So have I.
And so
you've got on late at night.
Yeah. And so, you've got teams like Rio Grande Valley or
Phoenix Rising.
I like Phoenix Rising. They've got a loud vocal fan base too, but like Hartford Athletic, there's like never anybody there and stuff like that. And so you're finally going to have a chance where like those teams are just bad. They don't have a fan base. They don't have a stadium. Like, cool, send them down. And then you're going to get teams like Madison, who has a crazy fan base, sent up. And I mean, can you imagine adding MLS to that? And it's like, then you're getting rid of these shitty FC Cincinnati's who are piling all this money into this, like, and it's literally just a cash grab.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, too bad, you suck, you're relegated, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. That's the way that it should be. I really truly believe that all sports should be like that, because we always hear about, teams that start off like 0-8, like especially in the NFL. Oh, well, they're just going to tank so that they can get the first round draft pick.
The Dolphins tank for Tua. Yep.
Yeah. Well, guess what? One player is not going to change your franchise.
No,
I'm sorry, it's not. There are 55 players on an active NFL roster. And if you're thinking that tanking for one rookie is going to change everything, there is something immensely wrong with your thought process. And I don't like it. Like, you're paid millions of dollars to play a game that a lot of kids, that a lot of people love. We love to watch it. We love to celebrate it. We love to support it. And you're just like, no, I got paid. So, well, we're just going to tank and hope that we get the first draft pick in next year's draft and hope that changes everything. Guess what? It doesn't. I hate it with a passion. If your team sucks, you are not allowed to play in a professional league.
Then do better.
You're just not. Yeah. I can't stand it. I hate it with a passion. That's the one thing I love about football is the pro rel. Yep. Bottom three. Sorry. Better luck next year. You're down one league. and whoever was top 3, you get moved up.
Yeah.
That's the way that it should be. You play to win. That's the only thing that should be going through your mind. There are no draft picks in European football. There are no draft picks. Well, if we finish 20th in the Premier League, we might get Neymar or Mbappe, or we might get first cracks at them. Like,
Right.
stop. You play to win.
And yeah, the MLS, I don't know. It's just it's art to me. It's artificial. I can count probably on, we'll say 2 hands to be safe. Because what are they up to? 28 teams now? 29?
Yeah, I think 28.
But
Yeah.
I can count on 2 hands the amount of franchises and clubs that like deserve to be there. They've done something like to deserve to be there.
Oh,
At FC
Yep.
Dallas,
I'm in with you. This will be a makeshift Sporkle quiz.
I like it. FC Dallas, because of their youth program, they know how to churn players out, even if it doesn't lead to like playoffs and stuff. The Galaxy, because they're not afraid to spend money. I'm biased, but Sporting Kansas City is another team that will develop youth players and send them through and all that. Let's see. On the other hand, Houston can go. They're just always bad. Chicago Fire can go. They're just always bad. Cincinnati can go. Columbus deserves to stay. DC United, Seattle, Portland. I've been impressed with Austin. I think Austin is running their stuff well.
Salt Lake, Real Salt Lake.
Yeah, Real Salt Lake. Thank you. And Atlanta United. There you go.
All right, those are 10.
Yeah.
Here are some other. Here we go. America's favorite game. Gun to your head. Yay or nay? Colorado Rapids.
Nay.
Okay. Vancouver Whitecaps.
Nay.
Toronto FC.
Nay. Actually, no, Toronto deserves to be in there. I'll give Toronto.
NYCFC.
No.
Red Bulls.
Yeah, hold on. I'm going to go back to NYCFC.
Yeah.
They won the league last year. And first of all, they still play in a fucking baseball stadium.
Yep.
And their championship banner was this big, up on like the 3rd deck. Like, Man City doesn't even respect NYCFC. Like, Citigroup does not. No, get them out of here. All right. Sorry, what was the next one?
So let's go. I forgot what my next one was. Red Bulls.
They're borderline.
I feel like they're kind of like a mainstay.
They are, but only because they spend, and they spend poorly.
Yeah. Philadelphia Union.
They have a good supporters group. I'll give them that. They've got diehards. As an organization, though, meh.
Charlotte, it's their first year. So
yeah, I'm gonna wait a year on them.
Yeah. Trying to think of who else.
Miami? No. Miami's out.
Orlando?
Again, good fans, poorly run organization.
I don't think Miami has had enough time yet.
Yeah. I don't know. I just hate them. That's just my opinion.
I know you hate them. LAFC.
Probably because they spend and they have a great fan base.
And they have Will Ferrell. So
yeah. Right.
Can't argue that. Trying to think if there's anybody I missed. Kind of
Minnesota. What do you think of Minnesota?
I've been to a game. Actually, I've been to 2 games at their stadium. One for Minnesota United, one for the U.S. men's national team. I have a hat. I
They're
like
not-
it. I like
Okay.
it. I think that they are in the right direction. I think they have good support.
Mhm.
I don't think they're like the upper echelon of MLS, which again is not saying a ton, but I think they're heading in the right direction.
So they're like that middle group with like Orlando and
Well, Orlando's had more time than Minnesota.
well, right, but I'm saying like
So I would put Minnesota ahead of Orlando.
right, but I'm saying the like good fan base, maybe not the best run kind
Yeah,
of thing.
I would say they are a borderline EA team.
Okay.
That's kind of how I would look at them. Chicago, yeah, they've been bad for what, 10 years.
More, I feel like it's been 20 with them since DeMarcus Beasley.
Bring back the Metro Stars.
I'm trying to think.
Tony Miola.
Is there anybody else? Montreal?
No, one Canadian team is enough.
Vancouver or Toronto then?
Toronto.
Yeah.
That's no brainer.
But see, okay, so this is all kind of piling into my point here. Is it's so
Yeah.
artificial? These aren't natural clubs. Like these were all somebody lives in that city and has millions and millions and millions of dollars and could pay half a billion dollars to get a franchise there. These aren't and there's no depth in the league for like good executives. It's like there's, like I said, like 10 to 12 teams where it's like those are well-run organizations. The rest are like, this is a cash grab.
Right. And I think that is the biggest hindrance on the MLS. Like once you are old enough, 35 plus, then you come to the MLS.
Yeah.
Like you go there just to show people up and be like, I'm 35, you're in your prime, and I am still outplaying you.
Right.
Like I remember the conversation with Zlatan, which we both love Zlatan.
Right.
And they were in an interviewer asked him about Carlos Vela. Like, do you think you're the best player in MLS? And Zlatan was like, yeah. And the interviewer goes, what about Carlos Vela? Zlatan goes, how old is he? 27. So he's in his prime. The interviewer goes, yeah, probably. And Zlatan goes, where was I when I was in my prime? I was in Europe, AC Milan, Barcelona. Like,
yeah.
And the thing is, Zlatan was still the best player. And he was 30, I think he was 33 at that time.
With Galaxy?
Yeah.
He's like 37.
But yeah, like just older than hell, but still just tearing shit up. Look at Chicharito. Look at what he's doing right now. Just tearing things up. And honestly, the MLS might have been the best thing for him.
Bradley Wright Phillips.
Yeah.
Red Bulls.
Yep. He tore it up. Thierry Henry had a field day with Red Bulls.
Drogba with Montreal.
Yep. It's just like you go to MLS to when you're older just to try and promote the game and bring in like fan sales. That's basically all you're doing. Yeah, it's just cash. The only problem is the MLS doesn't have enough cash like they would in Europe.
Yeah.
So they're going there just being like, hey, give me like 5-6 mil and we're good. Like I can coast on everything else that I've earned in my reputation, and I'll help you make an extra, 100 mil in profit for the season, ticket sales, shirt sales, all that other stuff. Like they understand it. It's just the fact that that's why the MLS is a joke.
Yeah.
You look at Gonzalo Higuain, right?
Yeah.
He went
Oh
to
yeah.
he went to Inter Miami, barely plays, doesn't score. I don't know what he's doing there. Blaise Matuidi,
Yes, at Miami.
also with Inter Miami, and
Yeah.
you don't really hear much from him. And he was a damn good central defensive mid for PSG for a long time.
Right. And it's all just forced down our throats. Like, this is acceptable. Yeah. This is good. This is what you're supposed to be watching. And it's like, no, it's not. No, this isn't good. And honestly, it affects how we view the US national team, because it's like, oh, well, these guys are playing against Zlatan, and like, no,
yeah,
MLS isn't good.
And granted, I'm a fan of Walker Zimmerman. I really am. But him playing at Nashville does not do shit for me.
Kellen Acosta.
Oh.
Paulie Nips.
I love him too. I'm a big fan of him too.
No, but like,
it's just
we watch a lot of other leagues, so we know, like, yeah, we can like these people, but we know that they wouldn't succeed in other leagues. There is a large segment of the soccer viewing society in America who thinks that an MLS team can compete with any team in the world. I'm telling you, I just, based on my Facebook, like, and Twitter and all that, there's a large contingent of people who think, you condense the league a little bit, you get like 12 teams and all these people on the same team, and they would compete with Chelsea, with AC Milan, with Inter.
Guess what? They tried doing that. Remember the MLS All-Stars against like Real Madrid or whatever it was? And we got our ass kicked like 7-0 or 7-1.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think they were playing their starters.
No.
And we still got our asses kicked. You're telling me that the best of the MLS, your all-star team, best you got to offer, versus Europe's best, and you still lose 7-0, 7-1. You maybe got one off a bullshit penalty or some lucky ass goal. Stop.
See, and you can't say any of this. You can't say that the league is artificial. You can't say that MLS All Stars couldn't beat anybody. You can't say that, because then you're a Euro snob.
Mm-hmm.
No, I just am able to see talent with my eyes.
You can see the difference in the game. Like, it is crazy. And granted, you and I watch a lot.
Right.
We watch a lot of soccer. I mean, I watch whatever's on. Personally, I don't care what league it is. I'll watch the USL, MLS. I'll watch La Liga. I'll watch the Bundesliga. I'll watch Premier League. Depending on the time of day, I'll watch, Saudi League, or the Belgian League.
Belgian League playoffs were on this morning. Yeah.
Like, I'll watch anything. But even that alone, you can tell the talent is far better than what we're doing in the MLS, which I find hilarious, considering the fact that we typically, as the US is with most major sports, we are right. Like NBA, nobody in Europe is going to compete with us if we were to put all of our all-stars together.
Right.
Like, we're probably going to win. NFL, not even a question. Like, we're going to kick the shit out of anybody from the Canadian Football League. Like, it's not close. Baseball, argument could be made for Japan and Korea. They are very good at baseball. So that could go
consistent top 3 in baseball.
Yeah. But, and then you look at, I mean, I'm not going to use hockey, because it's a slippery slope. I would say maybe top 5.
Yeah. But I'd say that like 3 to 7 range.
Yeah. But then you look at soccer. The Mexican league is better than the MLS. And yeah, you can say the CONCACAF Cup or whatever the cup is, or the Champions Cup, whatever it is that it's US against Mexico, like all that bracket, whatever. Mexico usually kicks the shit out of us.
Right. The US has never won the CONCACAF Champions League.
Yeah, it's usually never close. It's like, we can try and pump all this money into our systems and youth development and everything like that. It doesn't matter, because guess what? Everybody wants to play basketball. They want to play baseball. They want to play football. Those are the three main sports. I guarantee you, if you look across the US, those are the three main sports that all kids play. Me personally, I played baseball. I played basketball. Collins, did you play football?
Yeah, I played everything.
Yeah. I even played soccer growing up.
Yeah.
And that's good and all, but I knew I wasn't that great at soccer. They had me as a central defender. I'm like, that's not a good idea. Get red carded every match. But at the same time, it's like I had to kind of go out of my way to even try and play soccer. I played for I played for the Croatians in Milwaukee.
You didn't play for isn't there a Polish club? Polska?
I did not play for Polonia.
Yeah, Polonia. There you go.
No, I went the opposite direction. I played for the Croatians, and then I played for the Serbians. I was not well liked in the Croatian community after that.
At least you didn't play Bavarians.
Nope, thought about it, but nope, did not. But it's just one of those things where it's like, at that point, I was just like, soccer's not my thing. A lot of people don't take it seriously, especially at that level. I mean, I was playing U12, 13, whatever, but I was also playing basketball and stuff like that, year round. So
right.
It's I'll make games if I can, but I've also got, school and all this other shit.
Right.
But, you can tell from that point that soccer was just not a big thing. It's kind of more of an excuse just to kind of stay active and get out of the house. There was nothing ever really driving me to want to continue it. And that's the same thing with the MLS. Yeah, you might have a couple people that make a big name for themselves and then go to Europe. Miguel Almiron, right? 24 mil to Newcastle.
Yep.
And what's he done out there?
Well, he's done okay.
He's done okay, but
with a relegation team.
But he's definitely gotten his ass handed to him.
Oh yeah.
Going from MLS to Premier League, but he's had some time to adjust, so now he can at least develop that. We talked about Jack Harrison. He's kind of had his ass handed to him every now and again too. Again, playing with a relegation team, but you're not seeing top 6 clubs in at least the Premier League going out and looking for a hotbed of talent in the MLS.
No, the last one was Matt Miazga.
And we all saw how well that ended up.
And he was immediately loaned out. Yeah.
Luckily, we got him for what, 3 mil?
Yeah, it was some cheap. But yeah, so that's got myself all worked up now.
Good.
But yeah, MLS, artificial. Don't like it.